Radhe Radhe, Dandavat Pranam. Welcome to Shri Shri Radha Vinobihari Mandir, the freshly shringared Shri Shri Radha Vinobihari. If you hang out till the end, you'll get close-up darshan. In Shri Vrindavan Dham, Srila Gurudev ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Rupanuga Gauriya Guru Varga ki jai, Patit Pavan Shri Nityananda Prabhu ki jai, Prem Purushottam Sachinandana Gaura Hari ki jai, Radha Vinobihari Ju ki jai, Radha Ramana Ju ki jai, Giriraj Mahārāja ki jai, Harinama Sankirtana ki jai, Hare Krishna Mahamantra ki jai, Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki jai, Shri Gaura Premanande Hari Hari Bol. Dandavat Pranam, all Vaishnavas. I think all 4 of you right now, but more to come soon. So, Jiva Pavana Prabhu has already posted Mangalacharan. Mangalacharan means auspicious invocation, calling, invoking the presence, the grace, the mercy, and the sidelong glances of our Gurudev, our Guru Varga, all of our Guru Parampara, Shri Nityananda Prabhu, Mahaprabhu, Radha Vinobihari Ju, Mahamantra itself, his self, herself, begging for their mercy, invoking their mercy, praying for their mercy. Starting with Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam, page 1 of this Bhajan Treasure Trove, Shri Gauriya Giti Gucha, or whatever Jiva Pavana Prabhu has posted. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavāśta Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvetam Shavadutam Parjana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Pada Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitascha Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnanam Jana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Radhikaya Priyatmane Shri Śrīmad Bhaktivedānta Nārāyaṇa Nityanamine Shri Krishna Lila Katane Sudaksham Odarya Madhurya Gunaishcha Yuktam Varam Varenyam Purusham Mahantam Nārayaṇam Vaṁshirashan Namami Tridandinam Bhakta Shiromanica Shri Krishna Padāvriditaika Hridni Chaitanya Lila Amrita Sarasaro Nārayanam Tvam Satatam Prapadye Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshthaya Bhutale Śrīmate Bhaktivedānta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Namo Vishnu Padaya Gaura Preshthaya Bhutale Shri Śrīmad Bhakti Pragyāna Keshava Iti Namine अतिमर्त्यच्छरित्राय स्वश्रितानां च पालिने जीवदुःखे सदरताय श्रीनाम प्रेमदायिने नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिसिद्धान्त सरस्वती नामिने श्रीवर्षभारती देवी दयिताय कृपाभये कृष्ण संबंध विज्ञान दयिने प्रभवे नमः माधुर्योज्वल प्रेमाध्य श्रीरूपानुग भक्तिदान श्री गौरकरुणाशक्ति विग्रहाय नमोस्तुते नमस्ते गौरवाणी श्रीमूर्तये दिनतारिणे रूपानुगम्यरुद्धाप सिद्धान्तद्वन्तहारिणे नमो गौरकिशोराय साक्षात् वैराग्यमूर्तये विप्रलम्भरसम्बोधे पदाम्बुजायते नमः नमो भक्तिविनोदाय सच्चिदानन्दनामिने गौरशक्तिस्वरूपाय रूपानुगम्बरायते गौरायर्भावभूमेस्त्वं निर्देष्टा सजनप्रिय वैष्णवः सर्वभौम श्रीजगन्नाथाय ते नमः वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः नमो महावदन्याय कृष्णप्रेमप्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्णचैतन्य नाम्ने गौरत्विषे नमः हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकाकान्तो राधाकान्तो नमोऽस्तुते तप्तकाञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये जयतां सुरतो पङ्गोर् मम मन्दं मतिर्गति मत्सर्वस्वपदम्बोजो राधामदनमोहनो दिव्यवृन्दारण्यकल्पद्रुमद श्रीमद्रत्नागारसिंहासनस्थो श्री श्रीराधा श्रीलगोविन्ददेव प्रेष्ठालिभिः सेव्यमानो स्मरामि श्रीमन्द्रसरसारम्भी वंशीवत्ततस्थितः कार्षन्मेनुस्वनर्गोपीर् गोपीनाथ श्रियस्तु नः वृन्दाये तुलसीदेव्यै प्रियायै केशवस्य च कृष्णभक्तिप्रदे देवी सत्यवत्यै नमो नमः पञ्चतत्त्वात्मकं कृष्णं भक्तरूपस्वरूपकं भक्तावतारं भक्ताख्यं नमामि भक्तशक्तिकम् जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्तवृन्द चेतो दर्पणमार्जनं भवमहादावाग्निर्वापनं श्रेयकैरवचन्द्रिका वितरणं विद्यावधूजीवनम् आनन्दम्बुधिवर्धनं प्रतिपदं पूर्णामृतास्वादनं सर्वात्मस्नपनं परं विजयते श्रीकृष्णसङ्कीर्तनम् हरेर्नाम Harirnameva kevalam Kalo nastyeva 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 Gatiranyatha Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Dandava Pranam. Sorry about the mess up on the tuning there. It was set to Kirwani Rag and I went out of Rag. So the demigods of music contorted for a moment. Hare Krishna. Sudevi said, I'm not a demigod, but I contorted. Kirvani sounds a lot like Bhairav. Not that it makes any difference, but anyhow. Like Brajajana Manasukakari or Krishna Govinda Govinda Gopala Nandalal Govinda Govinda Hey Gopala Nandalal. Okay, so now we're going to call out for the mercy of Sri Gurudev. Simple old tune, Gurudev Kripa Bindu Diya. Old tune means the one we normally would do. Page 32 by Srila Bhaktivedānta Thakur. Gurudeva Kripa Bindu Diya Koru Dase Trinape Khayoti Hino Gurudev Kripa Bindu Diya Koru Dase Trinape Khayoti Hino Sakala Sahani Balladiya koro nijamare sprihahino sakala sahani balladiya koro nijamare sprihahino kripa bindu diya guru dase Trinape Khayoti Hino Gurudev Kripa Bindu Diya Guru Dase Trinape Khayoti Hino Sakale Saman Kurite Shakati Dehonatho Jatha Sakale Saman Kurite Shakati Dehonatho Jata Jato Tabe to gahibo Hari Namo Sukhe Tabe to gahibo Hari Namo Sukhe Aparadha Kripa bindu diya koro dase trinape khayoti hino Gurudev Kripa bindu diya koro dase trinape khayoti hino kabe heno kripa Lobhiyaye jana kritartha hoibe natho kabe heno kripa Lobhiyaye jana kritartha hoibe natho Shakti buddhi আমি অতি দীন শক্তি বুদ্ধিহীন আমি অতি দীন করো মোরে আত্মসাৎ করো মোরে আত্মসাৎ গুরুদেব কৃপা বিন্দু দিয়া করো এ দাসে তৃণপেক্ষায়তিহীন গুরুদেব কৃপা বিন্দু দিয়া করো এ দাসে তৃণপেক্ষায়তিহীন যোগ্যতা বিচারে কিছু নাহি পায় তোমার করুণা সারো যোগ্যতা বিচারে কিছু নাহি পায় তোমার করুণা সারো করুণা না হইলে কাঁদিও কাঁদিয়া করুণা না হইলে কাঁদিয়া কাঁদিয়া প্রাণ না রাখিব আরো প্রাণ না রাখিব আরো গুরুদেব কৃপা বিন্দু দিয়া করো এ দাসে তৃণপেক্ষায়তিহীন গুরুদেব কৃপা বিন্দু দিয়া করো এ দাসে তৃণপেক্ষায়তিহীন গুরুদেব জয় 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 প্রভুপাদ 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 গুরু পরম্পরা পরম্পরা গুরু পরম্পরা গুরু পরম্পরা গুরু পরম্পরা গুরু পরম্পরা श्रील गुरुदेव की जय श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय रूपानुग गुरु वर्ग की जय श्री गुरु परंपरा की जय. Now we're going to call out for the mercy of all of the Vaishnavas that ever were, who are now, and whoever will be. Page 36, Vrindavana Vasi Jata by Devaki Nandana Das. Shri Vaishnava Vandana. Vrindavana Vasi Jata. Dandavat Pranama Vaishnavas. বৃন্দাবনবাসী যত বৈষ্ণবের গণ প্রথমে বন্দনা করি সবার চরণ। বৃন্দাবনবাসী যত বৈষ্ণবের গণ প্রথমে বন্দনা করি সবার চরণ। নীলাচলবাসী যত মহাপ্রভুর গণ, নীলাচলবাসী যত মহাপ্রভুর গণ, ভূমিতে পড়িয়া বন্দো সবার চরণ, ভূমিতে পড়িয়া বন্দো সবার চরণ। নবদ্বীপ বাসী যত মহাপ্রভুর ভক্ত, নবদ্বীপ বাসী যত মহাপ্রভুর ভক্ত, সবার চরণ বন্দো হইয়ায় অনুরক্ত, সবার চরণ বন্দো হইয়ায় অনুরক্ত। মহাপ্রভুর ভক্ত যত গৌরদেশে স্থিতি, মহাপ্রভুর ভক্ত যত গৌরদেশে স্থিতি, সভার চরণ বন্দো করিয়া প্রণতি, সভার চরণ বন্দো করিয়া প্রণতি। যে দেশে বাইসে গৌরাঙ্গের গণ, যে দেশে বাইসে গৌরাঙ্গের গণ, ঊর্ধ্ববাহু করি বন্দো সবার চরণ, ঊর্ধ্ববাহু করি বন্দো সবার চরণ। হইয়াছেন হইবেন প্রভুর যত দাস, হইয়াছেন হইবেন প্রভুর যত দাস, সভার চরণ বন্দো দান্তে করি ঘাস, সবার চরণ বন্দো দান্তে করি ঘাস। ব্রহ্মাণ্ড তারিতে শক্তি ধরে জনে জনে, ব্রহ্মাণ্ড তারিতে শক্তি ধরে জনে জনে, বেদ পুরাণে গুণ গাই যে বাসুনে, বেদ পুরাণে গুণ গাই যে বাসুনে। মহাপ্রভুর গণ সব পতিত পাবন, মহাপ্রভুর গণ সব পতিত পাবন, তাই লোভে মুই পাপী লইনু শরণ, তাই লোভে মুই পাপী লইনু শরণ। বন্দনা করিতে মুই কত শক্তি ধরি, বন্দনা করিতে মুই কত শক্তি ধরি, কাম বুদ্ধি দোষে মুই দম্ভ মাত্র করি, তম বুদ্ধি দোষে মুই দম্ভ মাত্র করি। তথাপি মুখের মনের উল্লাস তথাপি মুখের ভাগ্য মনের উল্লাস দোষক্ষমী ময়ধমে করুণী দাস দোষক্ষমী ময়ধমে করুণী দাস সর্ববাঞ্ছা সিদ্ধি হয় यम बंध छूते सर्ववांछा सिद्धि हो यम बंध छूते जगते दुर्लभ होया प्रेम धन लूते जगते दुर्लभ होया प्रेम धन মনের বাসনা পূর্ণ অচিরাতে হয় মনের বাসনা পূর্ণ অচিরাতে হয় দেবকী নন্দন দাস এলো ভেকয় দেবকী নন্দন দাস এলো ভেকয় জয় বৈষ্ণব ঠাকুর জয় বৈষ্ণব ঠাকুর 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 প্রভু কৃপা করো মোরে দয়া করো প্রভু কৃপা করো মোরে দয়া করো প্রভু কৃপা করো মোরে দয়া করো কৃপা করো মোরে দয়া করো all Vaishnava Thakurs ki jai. Now we will call for the mercy and grace of Śrī Rupa Gosvāmī, Śrī Sanātana Gosvāmī Pad, the six Goswamis, Shuniyachi Sadhu Mukhe, Bole Sarvajan, page 51 by Śrīla Narottam Das Thakur. শুনিয়াছি সাধু মুখে বলে সর্বজন শ্রীরূপ কৃপায় মিলে যুগল চরণ শুনিয়াছি সাধু বলে সর্বজন শ্রীরূপ কৃপায় মিলে যুগল চরণ হা হা প্রভু সনাতন ঘোর পরিবার প্রভু সনাতন গৌর পরিবার সবে মিলি বাঞ্ছা পূর্ণ করো আমার সবে মিলি বাঞ্ছা পূর্ণ ama prati hoya Shri Rupero Kripa Jeno ama prati hoya Se padoya shrayo jar se mahashoya Se padoya shrayo jar se mahashoya Prabhu lokhanatho kavi Sange loya jabe Prabhu lokhanatho kavi Sange loya jabe Shri Rupero pado padme More samarpide Shri Rupero pado padme More samarpide Heno ki hoibe moro Narma sakhi gane Heno ki hoibe moro Narma sakhi gane Anugato narotame more sa Koribe shasane Anugato narotame Koribe shasane Shuniyachi sadhu mukhe Bole sarva jano Shri Rupa kripayo mile Jugala charana Shuniyachi sadhu mukhe Bole sarva jano Shri Rupa kripayo mile Jugala charana Rupa Sanatan Jai Rupa Sanatan Rupa Sanatan Jai 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 Rupa Sanatan Prabhu hai 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 Shri Rupa Goswami Pad ki jai Śrī Sanātana Gosvāmī Pad ki jai Rupanuga Vishishad Goswami Prabhu ki jai Rupanuga Guru Varga ki jai Today I heard someone singing, humming one beautiful bhajan in glorification of Sri Nityananda Prabhu, page 164, Boro Shuker Kabor Gai. And if you do not have this Gorigiti Gucha, just go to Jiva Pavana Prabhu's most recent post and you will find the bhajan there. Did I say 164? By Srila Bhaktivedānta Thakur. From my understanding, this one was also part of the section where Srila Bhaktivedānta Thakur was trying to appeal to a certain group of population who tended on being sahajyas, but his message was to preach to them and bring them back to the proper path. In Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, I think 13 upasampradayas were mentioned, and one of them was the aul and the baul. And so Bhaktivedānta Thakur has something called a baul sangeet, means the songs in their style of singing, and he was introducing to many different groups of people according to what they could digest, according to their style. Narottam Das Thakur also made bhajans according to particular dialects and styles to appeal to certain populations so that they could take the message of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So from my understanding, this Borosukir Kabor guy is also from that Baul Sangeet. Patit Pavan Shri Nityananda Prabhu ki jai. Boro Shukir Kabor gai. Boro Shukir Kabor gai. Surabhi kunjete name hathule chenkodonita. Surabhi kunjete name hathule chenkodonita. Boro mojar ko thata. श्रद्धा मूल्ये शुद्धो नाम से हाथे ते बिकाय. श्रद्धा मूल्ये शुद्धो नाम से हाथे ते बिकाय. जो तो भक्त वृंदावशी अधिकारी देखे ना बेचे दरो कशी. अधिकारी देखे ना बेचे दरो कशी. जदि नाम किंदे भाई. जदि नाम किंदे भाई. आमार संगे चलो महाजनेर काछे जाय. आमार संगे चलो महाजनेर काछे जाय. तुमी किनबे कृष्ण नाम. तुमी किनबे कृष्ण नाम. दस्तूरी লইব আমি পূর্ণ হবে কাম. দস্তূরি লইব আমি পূর্ণ হবে কাম. বড় দয়াল নিত্যানন্দ. বড় দয়াল নিত্যানন্দ. শ্রদ্ধা মাত্র লয়ে দেন পরম আনন্দ. শ্রদ্ধা মাত্র লয়ে দেন পরম আনন্দ. একবার দেখলে চোখে জল. না বলো না করে অপেক্ষায় মনি ছাড়ে মায়া জাল ও ছাড়ে মায়া জাল গৃহে থাকো বনে থাকো না থাকে জঞ্জাল গৃহে থাকো বনে থাকো না থাকে জঞ্জাল আর নাই কো কলির ভয় আর নাই কো কলির ভয় আচন্দালে দে নাম নিতাই দয়াময় আচন্দালে দে নাম নিতাই দয়াময় ভক্তি বিনোরাতি গো ভক্তি বিনোরাতি গো নিতাই চাঁদের চরণী না আর নাহি আশ্রয় নিতাই চাঁদের চরণী না আর নাহি আশ্রয় বড় সুখের কবর গায় বড় সুখে কবর গায় সুরভি কুঞ্জেতে নামে হাত খুলেছে কোদনিতায় সুরভি কুঞ্জেতে নামের হাত খুলেছে করনিতায় সুখের কবর গায় বড় সুখের কবর গায় সুরভি কুঞ্জেতে নামের হাত খুলেছে কোদনিতায় সুরভি কুঞ্জেতে নামের হাত খুলেছে কোদনিতায় নিতাই 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 হে 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 জয় নিত্যানন্দ রাম জয় নিত্যানন্দ রাম নিত্যানন্দ রাম জয় নিত্যানন্দ রাম জয় নিত্যানন্দ রাম জয় নিত্যানন্দ রাম নিত্যানন্দ রাম জয় নিত্যানন্দ রাম নিতাই হে গৌর হে নিতাই হে গৌর হে নিতাই হে গৌর হে নিতাই হে गौर है पतित पावन श्री नित्यानंद प्रभु की जय. Okay, I've just seen a couple comments. Please forgive me. We actually updated the phone today, and I was thinking, did the update create a problem? But actually, it's because I updated it using the other internet. But we find that the connection is better with the SIM card. So I'm just going to switch it. Bear with me for a second. Hare Krishna.
Your phone or my phone?
Your phone. Oh. How does this work? There we are. Come on. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Oh, no sound. That looks much better. Ok? Soddisfatto? Satisfetto? Please let me know. Can you see Thakurji more clearly? That's the important thing. Jai.
Is it better?
I don't know. All I've seen so far is Jai. I don't know if that is... Yes, it's better, or There you go, Devaki, much better. Sorry about that. I was just thinking because Thakurji were newly changed, maybe they were creating some kind of aberration where, you know, like the camera can't handle their beauty kind of thing. Okay, the devotees are happy, then I'm happy. Page 169 by Srila Bhaktivedānta Thakur, Gai Gora Madhur Sware. Ga, I have to do it lower. Gai Gora Madhur Sware, Gai Gora Madhur Sware Nam, Gai Gora Madhur Sware, Gai Gora Madhur Sware. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Gai Gora Madhur Sware, Gai Gora Madhur Sware. Grihe thako, mane thako, sada hari bole rako. Grihe thako, mane thako, sada hari bole rako. Sukhe dukhe bhulo nako, badane hari naam koro re. Sukhe dukhe bhulo nako, badane hari naam koro re. Gai Gora Madhur Sware, Gai Gora Madhur Sware. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Gai Gora Madhur Sware, Gai Gora Madhur Sware. Maya jale badho hoye, কাজল মায়া জলে বদ্ধ হয়ে আছো মিছে কাজল এখনো চেতন পেয়ে রাধা মাধব নাম বলো রে এখনো চেতন পেয়ে রাধা মাধব নাম বলো রে গায় গোরা মধুর স্বরে গায় গোরা মধুর স্বরে হরে কৃষ্ণ 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 হরে 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 কৃষ্ণ 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 হরে 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 রাম 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 হরে 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 রাম 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 হরে হরে গায় গোরা মধুর স্বরে গায় গোরা মধুর স্বরে জীবন হইল শেষ না ভজিলে ঋষিকেশ জীবন হইল শেষ না ভজিলে ঋষিকেশ ভক্তি বিনোদ এই উপদেশ একবার নাম রসে মতরে ভক্তি বিনোদ এই উপদেশ একবার নাম রসে মতরে গায় গোরা মধুর স্বরে গায় গোরা মধুর স্বরে হরে কৃষ্ণ 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 হরে 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 কৃষ্ণ 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 হরে 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 রাম 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 হরে 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 রাম 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 হরে হরে Jaya Sachinandan Jai Gaura Hari. Sachinandan Jai Gaura Hari. Jaya Sachinandan Jai Gaura Hari. Jai Sachinandan Jaya Gaura Hari. Gaura He, Gaura He, Gaura He. Prem Purushottam Shachinandana Gaura Hari Ki Jai. Next we're going to call out Madhava Bahutaminati Koritoi. Madhava Hai. One of our friends who would host us when we were in Birmingham in the UK, we were introduced to them via Bhaktivedānta Ashram Mahārāja. And they're from a family from Bengal, Ranjana Rani Chanda and her family. So they hosted us for many programs over the years. And just recently, just a few days ago, in the early hours of the morning, their father, Minal Chanda, passed away. He was only 63 years old. And she said that they used to listen to Madhava Hai together. They listened to our bhajans quite a lot. And we actually met them when their brother had passed away. And he was quite young, and it really devastated their family. And so we came at that time, and we were doing kirtan with them and speaking about Jeev Tattva and Krishna and Bhakti. And so we've maintained connection with them for many years. And she expressed that the bhajans have actually helped them to mourn and to get through and actually keep them in a state of bliss and prayer through the departing of their father. So his name is Sri Milan Chanda. So please send out prayers for him that he may progress rapidly on the path of bhakti, and that he can find peace and happiness, and also that his family can also rapidly progress on the path of bhakti and find peace and happiness. So she said that she used to sit and listen to Madhava Hai with her father, and she's been listening to it a lot in the last few days, and it was bringing tears to her eyes. And today we also were hearing that bhajan. It's very powerful. So I just wanted to request that if you can all pray for him, Milan Chanda. Madhava Bahutaminati Koritoi. Page 144. Or whatever Jiva Pavana Prabhu posts here. So this is by Śrī Vidyapati. Madhava He Radha Madhava He Radha Madhava Madhava মাধব মাধব হে মাধব হে বহুত মিনতি করিত মাধব হে বহুত মিনতি করিত দে তুলসী তিল দেহ সমর্পিনু দে তুলসী তিল দেহ সমর্পিনু দয়া জানি নাচর বিমো দয়া জানি নাচর বিমো মাধব মাধব হে মাধব হে বহুত মিনতি করিত মাধব হে বহুত মিনতি করিত গণহিতে দোষ গুণলেশ না পায়োগি গণহিতে দোষ গুণলেশ না পায়োগি জব তুহু করবি বিচার জব তুহু করবি বিচার তুহু জগন্নাথ জগতে কহায়সি তুহু জগন্নাথ জগতে কহায়সি জগবাহি নহি মুছা জগবাহি নহি মুছা মাধব মাধব হে মাধব হে বহুত মিনতি করিত মাধব হে বহুত মিনতি করিত ইয়ে মানুষ পশু পাখি যে জনমিয়ে কিয়ে মানুষ পশু পাখি যে জনমিয়ে অথবা কীট পতঙ্গ गतागति पुनो पुनो मति रहू तू अपर संगे मति रहू तू अपर संगे माधव अतिशय कातरो भानये विद्यापति अतिशय कातरो परहिते इह भव सिन्धु परहिते इह भव सिन्धु तुआपद पल्लव कौरियवलम्बन तुआपद पल्लव कौरियवलम्बन तिलयेक देह दीनबन्धु तिलयेक देह दीनबन्धु माधव माधव हे माधव हे बहुत मिनती करितो माधव हे बहुत मिनती करितो बहुत मिनती करितो बहुत मिनती करितो जय राधा माधव जय राधा माधव राधा माधव जय राधा माधव जय राधा माधव राधा माधव राधा माधव जय राधा माधव जय राधा माधव राधा माधव राधे जय राधा माधव राधा माधव राधे श्री श्री राधा माधव जी की जय। श्री राधा कृपकटाक्षस्तवराज मुनीन्द्र वृंद वंदिते त्रिलोक शोकहारिणी प्रसन्न भक्त पंकजे निकुंज भूविलासिनी page 285, or whatever Jiva Padmana Prabhu posts. I was just thinking, what I ended with yesterday, what would we do if Srila Gurudev was sitting right next to us? And then I thought, Radha Kripa Kataksha Stavaraja. For those of you who haven't heard it before, I don't like to call it trivia because there's nothing trivial about it, but it is something amazing and something transcendental. Srila Gurudev Bhaktivedānta Nārāyaṇa Gosvāmī Mahārāja spoke that although we see that this is spoken by Shiva in the Urdhvam Naya Tantra, it is spoken by Shiva to Uma, to his consort. Srila Gurudev said, Lord Shiva could have never had this darshan of Srimati Radhika himself. It must be that he has heard it as Harikatha from Sri Rupa in the form of Gopishwar Mahadev. So overheard it or heard it as Harikatha. Sri Rupa, who is the manifestation of the form, Rup, or beauty of Srimati Radhika, has glorified Srimati Radhika. And Lord Shiva has heard this in the form of Gopishwar Mahadev, and then is repeating it as Harikatha. Munindra Brinda Vandite Triloka Shoka Harini Prasanna Bhaktra Pankaje Nikunja Bhuvilasini. This is important, this point that Srila Gurudev made, because oftentimes we look at something and we try to see it from its exact perspective, from our exact perspective. And oftentimes, more often than not, our exact perspective is wrong. That is why we must be under guidance. When our Param Gurudev Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj is speaking about Vishnu Buddha versus any other Buddha, then he is utilizing Tattva Siddhant, Shastra, history, and Tattva itself to establish what is the quality, what is the function of Vishnu Buddha. When we see Śrī Dāmodarāṣṭakam, sometimes it is said it is by Shankaracharya. It's impossible. Who is seeing Chaitanya? Who's seeing Jagannath like that? Kadachit kalindi tata vipina sangita taralo mudabhiri nari vadana kamala shvadamadupa Rama Shambhu Brahma Marapati Ganeshar Chitapado Jagannatha Swami Nayana Patagami Bhavatume. Kadachit Kalindi. Kalindi means Jamuna River. Tata means on the banks of Jamuna. Bhuje Sevya Benum Shira Shishikipicham Katitate Tukulam Netrante Sahachara Kataksham Vidatate Sada Śrīmad Vrindavana Vasati Lila Parichayo. It's all about Krishna in Vrindavan in its most beautiful form that only the gopis see. He's wearing peacock feather in his hair. He's playing a flute, wearing this yellow cloth, casting sidelong glances at his gopis. And then again, Rasanandi Radha Sarasabapura Lingana Sukho, who becomes blissful upon embracing the body of Srimati Radharani, which is compared to a cool pond. I assume that means Radhakund, which is considered non-different from her. Who is going to speak this? Shankaracharya cannot speak this thing. So other times we've said, issued from the mouth of Sri Chaitanya. Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita states that when Mahaprabhu would enter into the Jagannath Mandir, he wouldn't see Jagannath. Rather, in the mood of Srimati Radhika, he would see Sakshat Brajendra Nandan, means Krishna in Vrindavan. So when you understand things in context and tattva and siddhanta and everything, then you can also understand what is rasabas, what is not compatible with rasa, what doesn't seem to make sense, what doesn't feel right. Why would Shankaracharya be giving that kind of vision? Previous to the time of Madhavendra Puri, it was unheard of. Madhavendra Puri is considered the root of the tree of Krishna Prem. Prema Kalpat Mool. The root of this Krishna Bhakti tree. And then Ishwar Puripad, his disciples, compared to the first sprout, the sprout of that. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is compared to the trunk. And all of his associates and their followers are compared to the branches and the leaves. When you're able to contextualize, and this comes by the mercy of Sri Guru in the association of Vaishnavas, they can add clarification so that we can understand context, so we can understand tattva and rasa, and so there's no incompatible mixture of any of these things. It's very easy to just go, oh yeah, that was spoken by Shankaracharya, but impossible. Only the gopis or Mahaprabhu in the mood of the gopis can see Jagannath like that. The gopis are the ones bringing Krishna back to Vrindavan, and Jagannath is the form of Krishna who's hearing the pastimes of the gopis in Vrindavan. Krishna himself was listening. Baladev himself was listening. Subhadra herself was supposed to be guarding the door and stopping Krishna and Balaram from coming in, while Rohini Maya, the mother of Baladev, was telling all of the queens in Dwarka who asked her, we don't understand what the Brajabasis, what those Braja Gopis have done that Krishna is weeping for them every night. We want to know about their love and affection. So Rohini Maya, she's like, well, wherever Krishna Katha is being spoken, he comes running here, so we need to post a guard at the door, otherwise some problem will come. So Subhadra was made guard at the door, and Rohini was telling them about the pastimes of Vrindavan. And they were all completely mesmerized. But where Krishna Katha is being spoken, as Krishna says, Naham vasami Vaikunte, I do not reside in Vaikunta. Yogi nam hridayena cha. Also, I do not reside in the hearts of the yogis. Mad bhakta yatra gayanti. Where my devotees are remembering, glorifying my name's forms, qualities, and pastimes, I am there. That's where I will be. Tatra tishtami. So as she was speaking, Subhadra was there guarding the door outside to stop Krishna and Balaram from coming. But hearing that katha, she began to manifest ashta sattvika bhavs. One of those symptoms is that everything withdraws into your body. It is said like a turtle. Another one would be everything is elongating. Mahaprabhu's joints would become disjointed sometimes. But in this case, the eyes expanded massively in amazement. Her mouth smiling from ear to ear. Everything came inside. And when Krishna and Balaram came and they saw this form of Subhadra, they were also listening at the door, and their bodies also started to manifest these forms. Upon seeing this, they were in an incapacitated state. Narada Muni, he prayed, please always reveal this form to the world. It's not that they were incompletely carved. That's one story. But the real reason why they have that appearance is the manifestations of prem. These ashtasattvic bhavs that are manifesting. They're completely mesmerized. Krishna himself becomes completely intoxicated by hearing Krishna Katha. Especially when it is spoken by those who have witnessed the pastimes of Braj. When any pure devotee, especially our Rupanuga Guru Varga, are speaking Hari Katha, Krishna is there. That is what Hari Katha really is. Krishna is manifesting from them. From their heart, he is manifesting. He cannot help but be present there. So powerful. So when they're speaking, when the gopis are taking Jagannath, Baladev and Subhadra, actually Baladev is going first. Then Subhadra, then Jagannath. They're leading the way. And they're pulling these chariots. It is the chariot of their heart. With the ropes of their love and affection, they're pulling him to Vrindavan. And our Srila Prabhupada instituted this festival all over the world, in complete knowledge of what this festival actually represents. Right from the beginning of his life, his father was begging every single sadhu, please bless my son, that he can become a pure devotee of Radharani. And Prabhupada was very proud of that fact, that his father would pray to every sadhu for that blessing for him. And from the beginning of his life, he was doing this festival, Ratha Yatra, pulling these chariots. And he knows what it means. He knows what our Rupanuga Guru Varga are doing when they're pulling these chariots from Dwarka, Jagannath Mandir, to Gundicha Temple, Vrindavan, what it represents. Not a servant, a pure devotee. That's the same thing. Servant, pure devotee. So when you see these things in context, when you understand them, it transforms one's vision. When it says from Shankaracharya, you're like, oh. When it says issued from the mouth of Sri Chaitanya, at least those few verses which have that vision of Braja Krishna, maybe those are issued from the mouth of Sri Chaitanya. And some of the other ones have a lot more Aishwarya Bhav in them. So then you can also see, maybe it wasn't all one Ashtakam written by one person at one time. It can be from many different personalities, glorifications, and it's put all together. So I was mentioning that before Madhavendra Puripad, these ideas were not present. They were there, but very, very hidden. Madhavendra Puripad was the first person in our history that we have seen, at least in our recent history, to manifest these kinds of moods. To manifest these moods of prem, like Radha has for Krishna. He was feeling those and praying and weeping and crying out those moods. And then his disciple Ishwar Puri, and then his disciple Sri Sachinandan Gaurahari, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. They were experiencing these moods. Sudevi was singing Madhavendra Puri Bara Shishya Bara Shri Ishvara Nityananda Shri Advaita Vibhu Ishvara Puri ke dhanya korile na Shri Chaitanya Jagat Guru Gora Mahaprabhu. Okay. So we're going to now call out this Munindra Vrinda Bandite. Like I was telling this whole thing because Gurudev said this could not have come from Lord Shiva directly. He is repeating it as Harikatha. So this is an important point. So we understand. And also our Srila Gurudev 1,000 times would say in those intimate pastimes of Radha and Krishna, and with these kinds of descriptions, no male form can enter. No male form can see that. No other male form other than Krishna. And this is an important point also. These days, so many are trying, in the name of Gurudev, are trying to change his teachings. But Gurudev was very clear on this point. It's not that any cowherd boy can go into the Nirvrita or the Nikunjas of Radha and Krishna at any time. Never, never, and never. Srila Gurudev was so clear on this. And so, that's why it's essential to understand that point when you're putting this in context. Gopishwar is Lord Shiva, but a specific form of Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva wanted to witness the Rasalila pastimes of Krishna with the gopis in Vrindavan. But, and here comes the point again, no other male form could enter. So he prayed to Purnamasi, who was like his guru. And Purnamasi took him to Brahmakund, just near the Rangaji temple, near Govindaji Mandir in Vrindavan, and bathed him in that kund, Brahmakund. And he came out with a female form, a gopi form. No other male form could enter. But he was not given his Ekadash Bhav. You know, when you have realized something of your own eternal serving nature, you will also understand your own appearance, your dress, your service, and everything. And that you will confirm with your Gurudev, who will then reconfirm it with you. This is our process. Via the medium of Trinadapi Sunichena, taking shelter of Sri Harinam Prabhu, through Nam Bhajan, all of this will gradually awaken. Srila Gurudev explained that our Siddhadeha is present within that, within Trinadapi Sunichena, that will help it to manifest. So he was given a female form, but he did not know anything else. Parents' names, village, husband's names, own name. So many things were missing. So he was there hiding in the bushes, trying to witness the pastimes. He as a she was there in the bushes trying to witness these Rasa Lila pastimes. You know, when you're at home, if the curtain's slightly open, and you feel someone's watching you, you just don't feel comfortable, something doesn't feel right. The gopis and Krishna felt that. Something doesn't feel right. Something is not compatible. We're not able to feel the same normal exaltation that we usually feel. Something is rasa abhas. It's not compatible with this rasa. This is their rasa lila. So they began searching everywhere. Something is here, someone is here, something isn't right. And eventually they found behind one bush, one young girl, beautiful young girl. Who are you? Purnamasi didn't give him a female name. What is he going to say in his girl voice? I'm Lord Shiva. Who are you? What are you doing here? Why are you hiding here? Where are you from? Who are your parents? Where do you live? What village do you live in? Who's your husband? All of these questions, one after another. And she was just silent and completely like dumbstruck, didn't know what to say. And they're like, are you dumb? Are you a mute? Are you mad? Are you haunted? Wake up by the thousands. Until his cheeks were coming, Gurudev would say, his cheeks were coming red and big. And then he started calling out, Purnamasi, help me, help me. Immediately Purnamasi appeared there and said, this is my devotee. Actually, this is Lord Shiva, Mahadev. And so, please be merciful to him. So, the gopis and Krishna were merciful to him. Why is he called Gopishwar? Because the gopis are his Ishwar. Who was getting hit and who was doing the hitting? Then you know who's in charge. The gopis were the Ishwar, or the controller of this Mahadev. So Krishna gave him the benediction, because Purnamasi said, please be merciful. Krishna gave the benediction that you can be the guardian, the kshetrapal, the guardian of my dham, that no unauthorized person should enter. So before really entering, or just upon entering, it's kind of like getting your visa stamp. When you come to Vrindavan, maybe you've already arrived in the location, but you're technically not really inside until you get your stamp. You have to go to Gopishwar, Mahadev's, and there you offer pranam, do your parikrama, and beg permission for entrance into Vrindavan. So no other male form can enter, and this was another proof of that. So, having heard this glorification of Srimati Radhika from the mouth of Sri Rupa, Gurudev said, and Gurudev would know, he is repeating this as Harikatha to Uma in the Urdhvam Naya Tantra. Munindra Vrindavandite Triloka Shoka Harini Prasanna Bhakta Pankaje Nikunja Bhuvilasini Brajendra Bhanu Nandini Brajendra Susangate Kada Karishyasi Hama Kripa Kataksha Bhajanam Ashoka Vriksha Vallari Ditano Mandapastite Pravala Vala Pallava Prabharunangri Komale Varabhaya Sphurat Pare Prabhuta Sampadalaye Adakarishyasi Hama Kripa Kataksha Bhajan Anangaranga Mangala Prasanga Bhangura Bhruvam Savibhramam Sasambramam Drigantavana Patane Nirantaram Vashikrita Pratiti Nandanandane Kadakarishyasi Hama Kripa Kataksha Bhajan Tadit Suvarna Champaka Pradita Gaura Vigrahe Mukha Prabha Parashtakoti Sharadendu Mandale Vichitra Chitra Sancharachakora Shavalochane Kadakarishyasi Hama Kripa Kataksha Bhajanam Madonmadati Yovane Pramodamanamandite Priyanuragaranjite Kalavilasa Pandite Ananya Dhanya Kunjaraja Kamakeli Kovide Kadakarishyasi Hama Kripa Kataksha Bhajan Ashesha Hava Bhavadhira Hirahara Bhushite Prabhuta Shata Kumbha Kumbha Kumbhi Kumbha Shustani Prashasta Mandahasya Churna Purna Sokya Sagare Kadakarishyasi Hama Kripa Kataksha Bhajan Vrinalla Valla Vallari Karangaranga Dorlate Latagralasya Luna Nila Lochanavalokanē Lalallulan Milan Manobhya Muggamohanashrite Kadakarishyasi Hama Kripa Kataksha Bhajanam Suvarnamalikanchita Trirekhakam Bhukanthage Trisutra Mangali Guna Triratna Dipti Devite Salola Nila Kuntala गुम्फिते कदा करिष्यसि हम कृपाकटाक्ष भाजन नितम्बबिम्ब लम्बमान पुष्पमेखलागुने प्रशस्तरत्नकिङ्किणी कलापमध्यमञ्जुले करीन्द्रशुण्ड दन्दिकावरोह शोभगोरुके कदा करिष्यसि हम कृपाकटाक्ष भाजनम् अनेकमन्त्रनादमञ्जु नूपुरारवस्कल समाजराजहंसवंश निक्वनाति गौरवे विलोलहेमवल्लरी विदम्बिचारुचङ्क्रमे कदा करिष्यसि हम कृपाकटाक्ष भाजन अनन्तकोटि विष्णुलोक नम्रपद्मजार्चिते हिमाद्रिजापुलो मजा निरिञ्च जावरप्रदे अपार सिद्धि रिधि दिग्ध सत्पदाङ्गुलीनखे कदा करिष्यसि हम कृपाकटाक्ष भाजन मखेश्वरि क्रियेश्वरि स्वधेश्वरि सुरेश्वरि त्रिवेद भारतीश्वरि प्रमाण शासनेश्वरि रमेश्वरि क्षमेश्वरि प्रमोदकाननेश्वरि व्रजेश्वरि व्रजाधिपे श्रीराधिके नमोऽस्तुते इतीमम् अद्भुतं स्तवं निशम्य भानुनन्दिनी करोतु सन्ततं जनम् कृपाकटाक्ष भाजनं भवेत् तदैव सञ्चिता त्रिरूपकर्मनाशनं भवेत् तदा व्रजेन्द्रसूनु मण्डलप्रवेशनं कदा करिष्यसि हम कृपाकटाक्ष भाजनम् जय राधे जय राधे जय राधे जय श्री राधे जय राधे जय राधे जय राधे जय श्री राधे जय राधे जय कृष्ण जय राधे जय कृष्ण जय राधे जय कृष्ण जय राधे जय कृष्ण वृषभानुनंदिनी श्रीमती राधा रानी की जय। One thing I forgot to tell about Gopishwar Mahadev. He's very near and dear to our Goswamis, especially Śrī Sanātana Gosvāmī Pad. Sanātana Gosvāmī and Gopishwar Mahadev had a very close, friendly relationship. Previously, Sanātana Gosvāmī was at Govardhan. He would do parikrama, very big parikrama, from Mathura to Govardhan. He would do Govardhan Parikrama. He would spend some time there with Chakleshwar Mahadev. Then he would come to Vrindavan and do parikrama here and go to so many holy places. And then he would also see Gopeshwar Mahadev. Then he would go back to Mathura. All in one day, every day. When he became a bit older, he couldn't move so much. So Gopeshwar Mahadev or Chakleshwar Mahadev wanted to be close to him. So he manifested another form of himself. We know him as Bankandi Mahadev. These days, if you say Bankandi, it means that intersection where Atkamba meets Tuloi Bazaar. But that's called Bankandi because that is where Mahadev came to reside in Vrindavan. And very close to that is Madan Mohan Temple, where Sanatana Gosvāmī Pad was doing his bhajan. So, due to their affectionate relationship, devotees are always attached to being where other devotees are. This is natural. Because of this, and Mahadev is known as the greatest Vaishnava, Vaishnavanam Yatha Shambho. So he wanted to be with Sanatana Gosvāmī. So he made an arrangement to be close to him there at Bankandi. There's one prayer that we say to Gopeshwar Mahadev. Vrindavana Banipate Jaya Soma Soma Mole Sanaka Sanandana Sanatana Nāradedya Gopishvara Brajabilasi Unangri Padme Prema Prayacha Nirupadhi Namo Namaste. Vrindavana Banipate. O you who are the guardian of Vrindavan. Pati means guardian or maintainer, but he's the guardian. Jaya Soma Soma Mole. Keeping the moon on his head. Sanaka Sanandana Sanatana Nāradedya. The four Kumaras, Narada, and so many are offering pranam, prayers to him. Who is this personality? In Vrindavan, the specific form in Vrindavan as Gopishwar has a particular capacity. Not all forms of Lord Shiva have this capacity, but Gopishwar has it. Gopishvara Vraja Bilasi Unangri Padme Prema Prayacha. Gopishwar has the capacity, the particular potency of awakening or gifting, awakening within our hearts, prema, divine love for the lotus feet of Vrajabilasi Unangri, the divine couple who are ever playing in their beautiful pastimes in Vrindavan. So you can awaken prema for their lotus feet. Therefore, we're offering pranam unto him. Nirupadhi Namo Namaste. So it's a very, very particular and special form, this Gopeshwar Mahadev. Who can grant that? So when we pray to Lord Shiva, we pray to that aspect of Lord Shiva. Our Srila Gurudev credited his early years serving Hanuman because he was raised in a family of very good Brahmanas who were Ram Bhaktas. And he was well versed in Ramayan, Ramcharitmanas, serving Hanuman. He said because Hanuman's other form, the original form of Lord Shiva, you can say, would be Gopishwar. And from that form, all other forms manifest, including Hanuman. Hanuman is a manifestation of Lord Shiva. So from that, Gurudev said, somehow by the mercy of Gopishwar, through Hanuman, I was brought to the path of Rupanuga Bhakti. He credits Gopishwar for this, through Hanuman. So I thought that was quite sweet and something worthy of sharing. That is what brought him to the service of Radha and Krishna in Braj. So now we will call out Mahamantra. I don't know why I'm flipping through the pages. It's like, I think it's page 5. Because we were just talking about Lord Shiva, I was thinking Shiv Ranjani. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Sudevi, can you adjust the camera? Hare Rama, Hare Rama. They want to see Thakurji looking in. Rama Rama, Hare Hare. They said they're looking off that way. Just move it a little bit. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Prabhupada, Jai Prabhupada, Jai Prabhupada, 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 Prabhupada. Shri Nitai Gaura Premanande Hari Hari Bo, Shri Gurudeva ki Jai, Shri Prabhupada ki Jai, Rupanuga Guru Varga ki Jai, Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki Jai, Nitai Gaura Premanande Hari Hari Bo. They look like they have fall outfits, says Daya, 11 years old. Fall is also close to spring. The weather is very similar. They're the kind of outfits that make you fall in love. Gurave Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Tadalaye Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktāya Tadbhaktaya Namo Namaha Ajnanatimiraandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Nama Om Vishnupadaya Radhikaya Priyatmane Shri Śrīmad Bhaktivedānta Nārāyaṇa Nitya Namine Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshthaya Bhutale Śrīmate Bhaktivedānta Swami Nitya Namine Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya evacha patitanang pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Mukam karoti vācālam pangum langayate giring yat kripātamaham vande Shri Gurung Dinatarinam. First of all, I offer my Dandavat Pranam thousands of times in the dust of the lotus feet of our beloved Gurudev, Nitya Lila Pravishta Om Vishnupad, Ashto Tarashat Shri Śrīmad, Śrīla Bhaktivedānta Nārāyaṇa Gosvāmī Mahārāja. And the same thousands of Dandavat Pranam in the dust of the lotus feet of Nitya Lila Pravishta Om Vishnupad, Ashto Tarashata Shri Śrīmad Śrīla Bhaktivedānta Swami Śrīla Prabhupada, and to all of our Rupanuga Gauriya Guru Varga, and to all Vaishnavas past, present and future, including all of you who are present with us today, I offer my Dandavat Pranam.
Dandavat Pranam, dear Vaishnavas. Radhe Radhe, Radhe Shyam.
Radhe Shyam. So, today, because we only got, I think, 3 or 4 mantras, I'm calling them mantras, Srila Bhakti Vigyan Bharati Goswami Maharaj, he mentioned that he learned some things from our Param Gurudev, Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj. And because they were repeated enough, although it wasn't like a verse from the scripture, but he called them mantras, something which impressed itself within him so much so that he could never forget it. And so these Upadeshavalis of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada, this is something that any one of his disciples would recognize as being the main points of his teachings. And so they are like mantras. Yesterday we were speaking about those who don't perform Hari Bhajan are ignorant and murderers of their own souls. We spoke about that. So we have the point. Now we're on 4. Number 4. The acceptance of Sri Harinam and direct realization of Bhagavan are one and the same. This statement right here helps me to clarify something. When Srila Gurudev Bhaktivedānta Nārāyaṇa Gosvāmī Maharaj first asked me that question, do you know the difference between kirtan and sangeet? I said, no. He said Sangeet is technical ability, and he sang through the scale, sa re ga ma pa da ni sa. And he said Kirtan is transcendental sound vibration descending from Goloka Vrindavan into your heart. And then he said, after you receive Harinam, then your Kirtan will become potent. Well, that makes sense in context with this. The acceptance of Sri Harinam and direct realization of Bhagavan are one and the same. So I've been saying all this time, although he placed Harinam in my heart, I have yet to receive Harinam. Means to really realize the Swarup, the form of Krishna in his holy names. After I receive. To receive Harinam is different than Gurudev giving or placing. Gurudev places Krishna in our heart like a treasure for us to find. It's like a treasure hunt. And our process to find Krishna is by chanting itself. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. It's almost like, where are you? Where are you? Right? Gurudev said, in this world there's no problem. In this world there is no problem. There's only one problem. Where is Krishna? And this is exemplified by our 6 Goswamis. How they're always weeping and searching. Srila Prabhupada, our Srila Prabhupada said, they have never said, I have seen, I have seen. Rather, they're always weeping and crying and calling out, He Radhe Brajadevike Chalalite, He Nanda Shuno Kutaha, Shri Govardhana Kalpapada Patale Kalindi Vanye Kutaha, Goshantavati Sarvato Brajapure, Kedar Mahavihvalo, Mande Rupa Sanatano Rughujugo, Shri Jiva Palako. One time we were in Varshana with our Srila Gurudev, and he wanted that pathetic tune that our Srila Prabhupada would sing this Shad Goswami Ashtakam in. And the devotees were like, Mande Rupa Sanatana Raghu. And Gurudev's like, no. And they tried many tunes, and I knew that that was the one. The way he said, no, that tune, what he would sing that would just make you want to weep. How deep Gurudev was searching for that particular tune. So the acceptance of Sri Harinam, real acceptance, means I have accepted that Krishna has descended and I am serving Krishna. So acceptance of Harinam, real acceptance of Harinam, is non-different from direct realization of the Lord Himself. Abhinatva Nama Namino. Until that time, there is Nam Aparad. We cannot say that that's the pure name. So how is that acceptance of Shri Harinam Prabhu? Nam Aparad is different. There's so many different kinds of chanting. And we all know the different kinds of japa. There's gibber japa and jabber japa, gibberish. There was one devotee when we were growing up in the Los Angeles temple. We were like, what is he chanting? Like this. We're like, what is he chanting? And another, well, so many of us do it. We have our hands on our bead bags and we shake them up every once in a while as we're talking to others about anything that is mundane. Like, oh my God, did you see the football match? Who won? Oh, you got your hand in your mala. Ram Ram, yeah, what do you want to eat today? This is jabber. One was jabbering while chanting. So many different kinds of spaced out kind of japa or chanting of the holy names. So really you cannot call it holy at that time because we're not actually making a communion with the holy. We're just kind of doing it as a sideshow. Our communion is on the back burner. You know this term, on the back burner, means you've got 1, 2, maybe 4 burners and it's somewhere in the back, not given a place of prominence. Our connection, we're not making that active endeavor to connect. We are doing what is called Nam Aparad. I cannot speak for all of you, but we can all look at our own selves, check our own pulses. What is Nam Aparad? Nam Aparad means my heart is full of material desires. I have desire for money. I have desire for sense gratification of many different kinds. I have desire for labh, puja, and pratishta, name, fame, adoration, appreciation. Maybe just a little bit, like, maybe, oh, do you like what I'm doing? Do you like some acceptance? I want something. We're seeking all of these things. This is the nature of conditioned souls. And then we're chanting Harinam, but this is what is going on. And the result of the chanting, Krishna says, as you approach me, I reciprocate accordingly. So then we're not finding that we're awakening praying for Krishna, but instead we're awakening the fulfillment of our material desires. Why after 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years am I not running with tears, searching for Krishna everywhere? Why am I very happily and cozily enjoying my material life? Because I have not really entered into the process. So I cannot say that my Nam Aparad is the same as Shuddha Nam. It's not. When a Mayavad chants Hare Krishna or tells Harikatha, the words sound the same externally. But how does Krishna take it? Krishna takes it like a thunderbolt to his own heart. He considers it offensive that you're taking my name and you have this mood against my Radha, against my devotees, against my own form and nature, against love itself, against prem, and you're doing kirtan of me and preaching about me, but with this other twisted thing. I take this as a personal offense. Krishna says, I take it like a thunderbolt to my own heart. They're chanting, but it's not the same. It's not the same as someone else who's chanting with the mood, O Radha, O Krishna, please engage me in your loving service. I am yours, I am yours. Such a difference. Srila Gurudev, it was 1996, we were in Govardhan. And the district officer of Mathura and Govardhan, for that whole area, he had come to the center where we were. And that was at Modi Bhavan, just across from where we did our Abhishek of Giriraj Maharaj, where Gurudev used to take us. And Gurudev had him stand up and speak. And he spoke very nicely, very beautifully, very sweetly. And in the very end, he said something, kind of under his breath, but he still spoke it. Basically something to the effect of, it's all one, we're all Nārāyaṇa, we are all that. And everything else that he just spoke was just something to bide the time. Gurudev chastised him in a way that man was on the floor holding his ears in front of all of us. Gurudev said, how can you be the district officer of Govardhan and have this conception? You are not representing the moods of Braj. How can you be in charge of Braj and have this kind of conception? There's no bhakti or devotion in your speech. And he said, promise from this day that you will never speak like that again. And that person was like this. Gurudev had that kind of pull and power in Braj Mandal, by his devotion, by his conviction. We witnessed it all. And then after he got up and left, that district officer got up and left, Srila Gurudev warned all of us, be very careful. He said, there are those persons who can speak Harikatha so sweetly and do kirtan so sweetly that thousands of people in the audience will weep. And for every shlok you tell, they can tell 100 shlokas. And for every shlok they tell, they can tell another 100 shlokas. And in the end, they will say, it's all one. So be very careful. It's not just about how we're made to feel. We should not move on that platform only. It's very easy to move on the platform of sentimentality, but Vaishnavas do not move on the platform of sentimentality. Vaishnavas are Shastra Chakshushaha. We move on the platform of truth. It's not about what makes me feel good. It's about what is reality, what is truth. So Gurudev warned all of us, be very careful. They will tell all of these beautiful things and make your heart melt, and you will feel so much and tears will be flowing from your eyes. And in the end, they will say, it's all one, it's all nothing. Like that. So Gurudev warned us, be very, very careful who you're listening to, how you are listening. Srila Bhaktivedānta Bharati Maharaj told, he said that they were doing some preaching, and there was somebody, they were traveling around India somewhere, and someone said, oh, you Gaudiyas, you're like that, you're so stuck in your ways, you can never hear anything else, you can never change. And he said that the devotees he was with and himself, I believe it was him, it might have been about his Gurudev, so forgive me, I could be a little adjusted on that. But the point he made was that they said to this person, if you can present a superior truth, then we will gladly accept what you have given. Because we're followers of truth. We're not followers of sentimentality. If your truth is superior to the truth that we are following, then we will gladly accept your truth. This was very, very telling that Vaishnavas are not followers of sentimentality, but they're followers of truth, and that truth must be supported by Shastra. Shastra Chakshushaha, seeing through the eyes of Shastra. If you can present something superior, we will accept it. And when I heard that, I thought, wow, that's amazing. And what kind of conviction must one have that we are following that path, which is the most truthful of all paths? In other words, we cannot be shaken or moved at all from this path because there is no truth superior to this. As we said yesterday, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, matamidam tatradaro napparaha. The combined form of Krishna and Srimati Radhika, Sri Satyananda Gaurahari Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, has given his statements. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Mataparataram nanyat. There is no truth superior to me, except there is one. Because later on he says, Radhika Premer Guru Ami Shishyanata. Radhika is my guru of prem and I'm simply her dancing pupil. So Radha Krishna together, Jai Jai Radha Krishna Jugala Milan. This is the highest truth. That also manifests in the form of Satyananda Gaurahari. And he has made his statement. This is the opinion of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and there is nothing beyond it. If that is the opinion of God in his most amazing, amazing, amazing form, with the combined aspect of Vishai and Ashray, that means complete, the complete whole, the enjoyer and the servitor aspect together. And he's making this exclusive statement. Then what truth will you find that is superior to that? So our Gaudiya Vaishnava Acharyas have complete conviction in their following of the highest truth. And so they can make a statement like that. If you can provide a superior truth, we will gladly accept your statements and your truth over what we are following. This is quite telling, quite powerful actually. So Srila Bhaktivedānta Bharati Maharaj, he revealed this katha. So I was telling that the acceptance of Sri Harinam and direct realization of Bhagavan are one and the same. Real acceptance of Sri Harinam Prabhu means realizing that there is no difference between the name and Krishna himself. In fact, he has put more into his names than he has himself. As Chaitanya Mahaprabhu stated in Śrī Satyavrata Muni, Nam Nam Akari Bahuda Nija Sarva Shaktis. You have invested your holy names with all of your transcendental potencies. Srila Gurudev explained that even where Krishna himself cannot go, his name can go. His name goes everywhere. His name is non-different from himself, and yet it has extra special potency within it. So real acceptance of Sri Harinam Prabhu means real acceptance of Krishna himself. Real acceptance of Krishna himself means that when you are chanting, Krishna himself is actually dancing on your tongue and manifesting within the core of your heart. I'm going to quote that verse again. Tunde tandavani ratim vitanute tundavali labdhaye karna krodha kadamani gatayate karnabude vyaspraham cheta prangana sangini vijayate sarvendriyanam kritim no jane janitakyadbir amritay krishneti varnadvayi. How much nectar do these two syllables Krishna possess within them? I'm not going to go into the ears and the tongue, but when he manifests in the core of the heart, all of one's senses become inert. In other words, you become completely unaware of what's going on the outside as Krishna manifests, sitting on the throne, so to speak, of your heart, in the kunja of your heart. This is real acceptance of Sri Harinam Prabhu. And when one has actually truly accepted Sri Harinam Prabhu, this means they're actually serving Sri Harinam Prabhu, Krishna himself. For that person, there is no chance, no possibility of them being attracted to or distracted by anything of this material world ever again. And they will be completely indifferent from anyone's worldly opinion about their position or condition. This is the proof of real access to service of Krishna. Real darshan of Krishna will manifest first through taking shelter of Sri Harinam Prabhu. Param vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam. It's the first aphorism that Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada states in this Upadeshavali. Supreme victory to the congregational chanting of the holy names of Krishna. By that process, the mirror of the heart or the mind will be completely cleaned of all of the dust, or it might be wood, or it might be mud, or it could be stone or steel. I think most of us can affiliate with the steel or stone aspect. Srila Bhaktivedānta Bharati Mahārāja explained that for those who have that kind of steel or stone coating over their heart, something strong is required. What is that? Dynamite. He said dynamite is required to break that stone or steel-like shell so that the heart can be freed to serve Krishna. Sucheto darparamarjanam bhava mahadavagni nirvapanam. Mahaprabhu is saying, by the power of the holy name, all of one's sufferings and miseries in the cycle of repeated birth and death, all of that blazing forest fire will be completely extinguished. Shreyakairava chandrika vitaranam vidyavadu jivanam. And one's heart will be cooled. Not only will the fire be extinguished, if you were in a burning fire, you will still feel the burning, but the cooling of millions of moons will manifest, and you will feel that coolness from the holy names of Krishna. Vidyavadhu jivanam. It is the life of all transcendental knowledge. In fact, our acharyas have said that all of the books that we have, all of the scriptures we have, are actually nothing more than a commentary on Sri Harinam, Harinam Prabhu. They are all glorifying and pointing in that direction. That's why he says it's the sole object of worship. Vidyavadu jivanam anandam buddhivardhanam pratipadam. Tasting nectar at every step. Purna amrita ashvadanam. Tasting nectar at every step. Pratipadam purna amrita ashvadanam. Because the holy names of the Lord are not mundane, they are transcendental. If one is actually tasting nectar, then you would have ruchi. When you have ruchi for the nectar of Krishna's names, then you cannot go back to having taste for the sewage of this world. When the idea even presents itself Your lips will curl with distaste and you'll even spit at the thoughts, as Sri Jamuna Acharya has stated. This is the proof of real tasting. Sarvatma snapanam. All of one's senses, mind, body, everything will be completely satiated, completely satisfied by the power of the holy names of the Lord. This is proof of real tasting, real chanting of the names of the Lord. One will also have direct darshan of the Lord himself, direct realization. And this word realization we tend to use as a, like, oh my God, I totally realized that I had, that I'm not this body. Did you really realize you're not that body? Are you still trying to enjoy the body, looking at yourself in the mirror, doing whatever you do to decorate the body and trying to maybe attract people's attention to that body, or concerned that the body is getting older and the hair is getting whiter and spots are forming and covering spots and this and that? When we use this word realized, we use it loosely. But when they're using this word realization, direct realization, capitalize the R-E-A-L, realization. TM. It's real. It's no longer a theory. Direct realization means Krishna really, actually manifests directly. This is direct realization of Bhagavan. Srila Gurudev again and again would explain when certain subjects were a little bit difficult to understand or they seemed a bit far-fetched. He said, what we're telling you for right now, like for example, Jiva Tattva, he said it's something that to give you an idea. But he said in reality, it's much more amazing than you can ever understand with your material mind, intelligence, and ego, because it is transcendental. It is beyond the comprehension of the material. He said through Nam Bhajan, to taking shelter of Sri Harinam, then all this realization will come automatically. So there's a difference between Nam Aparad, Namabhas. Namabhas means a shadow or reflection of the name. It's quite an exciting thing. It's kind of like the dim light that's coming up just on the horizon when you know the sun will rise soon. It's not just darkness. It's not just being bound in all of my samsara because I'm not really following the process. There's an excitement which is coming very soon. The anticipation is there because you see the light coming slightly on the horizon. Some light is there. That would make more and more excitement, more and more enthusiasm. The hope would grow more and more. And then even one part of a Shuddhanam, one Ha, one Re, one Krish, anything like that, that much of Shuddhanam, one will attain prem and they will no longer be able to maintain their material body because it is too great. They will be absorbed in Leela. Srila Gurudev said about Srila Rupa Goswami, we know that Haridas Thakur chanted 3 lakhs Harinam every day. We don't know how many rounds Rupa Goswami has chanted. Simply one Ha, and he would immediately be immersed in the transcendental pastimes of Radha and Krishna and serving them as Sri Rupa. How powerful is that chanting? One Ha, an immediate absorption into those pastimes. It's different than us. One Ha and maybe we fall asleep. For Rupa Goswami, one Ha and he's absorbed in serving Radha and Krishna. So it sounds like some of these are also in accordance with or in line with the 10 offenses to the holy names. Because we've seen this also in the 10 offenses to the holy name. Those who equate the demigods with Vishnu are unable to serve Bhagavan. You know, in India it's quite common. They have some system where they worship so many different devas and Vishnu all on the same level. And maybe it's a result of mixing with different Mayavad conceptions. I forgot what it's called here in India, but they even have that song, Ishvara Allah Tero Naam Sabko Sanmati De Bhagavan Raghupati Raghava Raja Ram Patita Pavana Sita Ram, saying like everything, whatever form you wish to serve, it's fine. And that kind of starts leaning off into a non-exclusive aspect. And Krishna says very clearly in Bhagavad Gita, for those who are not one-pointed, they will never attain any destination. So our Gurudev again and again preached exclusive, one-pointed bhakti. One-pointed bhakti. Even if Ram and Krishna were present before you, even with Krishna as a cowherd boy versus Krishna as Gopikanta, Radhakanta, there is a difference. Krishna in Mathura, Krishna in Dwarka, Krishna in Vrindavan, there is a difference. What aspect of Krishna are we going to focus on? If you're focusing on Narasingha, Ram, Jagannath, and Braj Krishna, you won't be able to actually attain any destination. You have to find your one-pointed focus. Only by greed can you attain Braja Bhakti. And the nature or symptom of greed is its exclusiveness because of the tendency to obsess. When you're obsessing on that one thing, it drives you mad, but you can't think of anything else. If you've got your feet in so many boats, you cannot move forward on the path. So one particular Ishtadev must be established, and that is established by Sri Guru, generally at the time of initiation. Not that Guru is giving that as your Ishtadev, but Guru is recognizing the nature of your Atma, your particular flavor of love for the Lord in a particular flavor, and then giving you the path by which you can attain your destination in the least blocked way, in the most fast way, so we don't waste time going to every different location for millions and billions and trillions of years, so that we can attain our destination. Sri Guru diagnoses what is the nature of our Atma and its particular intrinsic, inherent, constitutional serving nature toward a particular form of the Lord, and gives us the appropriate sadhana to attain our appropriate goal. This is the preaching of our Param Gurudev, Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj. This is the preaching of our Srila Gurudev, Srila Bhaktivedānta Nārāyaṇa Goswami Maharaj. This is the preaching of our Srila Prabhupada. This is the preaching of Srila Gaur Govinda Maharaj, the preaching of Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada and Bhakti Vinod Thakur and all of our Guru Varga. And you can find it in that book that's been recently published. I think it's called The Svarup of the Jiva. So, those who equate the demigods with Vishnu are unable to serve Bhagavan, because they're not acknowledging Bhagavan properly. Jagannath Punja from Fiji told us that when Srila Prabhupada came to his house, because that family, the Punja's family, they received Srila Prabhupada, they arranged for all of his preaching, they opened up the first temples, they did a lot of preaching, they brought him everywhere, and also received our Gurudev and did the same for our Gurudev. So he said that when Prabhupada came to his house, Prabhupada noticed that Krishna and Vishnu and Shiva and Durga and Ganesh and everyone was on the same platform, the same altar. And Prabhupada had been preaching about Krishna. So Jagannath Prabhu said that when later on they were talking, because in Fiji they still have this hierarchy, they also have it in India, where servants live in the house. And they get paid a meager wage, but they have a place to stay and they serve all day. So Prabhupada says to Jagannath Prabhu, does the servant eat at the same table as the master? And Jagannath, he said, no. And he understood what Prabhupada meant. You don't put them on the same level. So Krishna is the topmost. Ete chang sakala pungsa Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam. Aham sarvasya prabhava matta parataram nanyat kinchirasti dhananjaya. I am the source of everything. Those who worship the demigods are actually worshipping only me, but they're doing it in the wrong way. And Krishna is establishing himself as the Lord of everything. Aham bija pradapita. I am the seed-giving father of everything in existence. And those who are placing the devas on the same level as Bhagavan are actually making nam aparad, to consider the names of the demigods to be equal to or independent of Vishnu or Krishna. This is considered an aparad or offense to the holy name. So if you are equating them, then you're not really able to properly serve Bhagavan. One should respect them, but see them appropriately according to their levels. And I'm going to give an example that I've given before, and you can all apply it to yourself. Or I'll just say it like this. Imagine if I put you on the Vyasa-san next to Gurudev and gave you equal glorification with Gurudev or Srila Prabhupada. How would you feel? Srila Gurudev, he stated, and I'm not saying this about any of you, you can take it for however you like. Srila Gurudev said, if you take a third-class bogus person and give him the same glorification as you would give Sri Guru, then that's, or the Uttam Bhagavat, then that's an offense to the real Uttam Bhagavat. So if we are placed on the same asana, the same seat with Gurudev or Prabhupada or any of our Rupanuga Guru Varga, and someone is giving us the same glorification as all of them, this would be a great source of embarrassment for us, and it would also be offensive to them. In the same way, we cannot put the devas on the same level as their creator, their source. They are the servants of Krishna. Ekala Ishvara Krishna ar sababhritya. There's only one supreme controller, and all others are his servants. Ishvara Paramakrishna Satchidananda Vigraha Anadir Adir Govinda Sarvakarana Karana. He's a supreme controller, Parameshwar, and Sarvakarana Karana. He's the prime cause of all other causes, or anything else that has a cause, or that causes anything. He's the original, Anadir, without origin, and Adi, original. Means there's no one who came before him, and he is the original. So if you take that into consideration, then to place anyone equal to or greater than him, except for Srimati Radhika, who is known as the superior personality of Godhead, from a very particular conception. When you are looking at it in terms of rasa, in Braj, then Krishna takes the subservient position. Today, Sudevi and I were discussing something. The fact that Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada and Srila Bhaktivedānta Thakur put Sachinandan Gaurahari next to Radha Krishna, Radha Vinobihari. This is very, very condensed Rupanuga, this mood. Why? Because, and I'm going to quote Srila Bhaktivedānta Bharati Mahārāja, he said that Krishna could not steal the bhavs of Srimati Radhika. He had to take shelter of her and beg to be able to taste those moods. So putting Sachinandan Gaurahari there automatically puts Krishna in the subservient position to Srimati Radhika, where he's taking shelter of her and begging to experience her moods of love and affection. So in Vrindavan, Krishna becomes completely controlled by the love and affection of the devotees. And this is special, this is Rasa Tattva, but we're speaking about Krishna Tattva. So from Rasa Vichar, it's a different thing. From the perspective of Rasa, it's a different thing. From Tattva Vichar, this perspective of Krishna Tattva, we should understand that he is the source of everything else. You can even say that from his own form, Baladev and Srimati Radhika manifested. And from Baladev, Vrindavan Dham, everything manifests. And then you look at what he says in Bhagavatam. Before me, so he never said before me. He said previously only I existed. Now only I exist. In the future only I will exist. Means nothing is equal to, independent, or separate from him. Nothing has any separate existence from God. That's one of the 4 nutshell verses of Śrīmad Bhagavatam. So this is also, this number 5, those who equate the demigods with Vishnu are unable to serve Bhagavan. They're unable to serve him because they're actually offending him. And they're also offending the demigods, really. Because they're giving equality. Basically, they're saying, in a sense, you're all the same, you're all one. But it's not like that, and that's offensive to the Lord. They're unable to serve him. Now, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada, and number 6 is going into preaching. Establishing a printing press to print devotional books and preaching by organizing Namahatta programs constitutes genuine service to Sri Mayapur. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada called the printing press the Brihat Mridanga, the big Mridanga.
Do you remember what Shamarani Didi said Prabhupada did with their first printing press?
Shamarani Didi told us that when Prabhupada, our Srila Prabhupada, got his first printing press, it was a Heidelberg printing press. Prabhupada paid full Dandavat Pranam to that press. Why? Because that press was going to be doing service, the Brihat Mridanga, publishing so many books. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada said, our Mridangas in Kirtan, the sound can only resonate to such a distance, maybe a couple 100 meters. But the Brihat Mridanga, the printing press that used to have a drum, my father used to be, he was a printer. So it has a drum, and that ink goes on the drum and it rolls and prints the pages. So that he called the big Mridanga. And so from the printing press, those books could go anywhere, far and wide, all over the world. And they will remain for hundreds of years. So how powerful is that Mridanga, that calling of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? The Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada considered it to be a very powerful form of kirtan, printing and distributing devotional books, and also preaching by organizing Namahatta programs. Srila Bhaktivedānta Thakur established something called Namahatta, and it was network marketing of the holy names. At that time in Bengal, of course, they did not have internet like we have now, but what they would do is do a program, a kirtan program, and katha in one person's home. And they would invite all of their friends. And then each of those persons would take turns inviting the kirtan program to their place, and they would invite more of their friends. And so somehow, like network marketing, by word of mouth and by connection, more and more persons would be introduced to the process of Krishna consciousness. Imagine what our acharyas would do now with the internet. Now I see that there are 32 people watching. But within 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, maybe 500 or more might see this. And if it was a transcendental personality, a pure devotee, thousands would be watching. And then that would be there for all time and shared more and more. Our Guru Varga would be mandating the use of this device and this kind of internet to preach Krishna consciousness all over the world. And you can see there are so many different devotees and so many different groups utilizing it at this time and all throughout the day in so many different ways, whether it's Facebook or that other thing, what is it, Zoom, or so many, YouTube, so many different ways to share Krishna consciousness at this time. Whereas previously it might have been a few people in one home, now it's going out to the world. Our acharyas would be definitely making a loud noise on this Brihat Mridanga. Now Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada is telling that we are not the doers of good or bad deeds. According to our Guru Varga, all karma ultimately is bad. Good karma and bad karma. Why? Because all karmic activities, whether in the mode of goodness, passion, or ignorance, keep one bound in the cycle of samsara. If you're doing all kinds of good deeds, like feeding the poor, helping the sick, opening hospitals, free clinics, this and that, it's all philanthropic work. Even millions of lifetimes of that cannot awaken bhakti in the heart.
You have to be paid back.
According to the laws of karma, if you are doing that, Srila Prabhupada is explaining in the scriptures, and actually it's the scriptures which are telling, and he's translating it. If you do good deeds in this world, then in your next birth, you can have Janma, Aishwarya, Shruta, and Shri. A high birth, wealth, high education, and bodily beauty. And if you do sinful activities, then in your next birth you can have the opposite of that. Low birth, you can be poor, uneducated, and ugly, or unattractive, so to speak. Well, we know that Janma, Aishwarya, Shruta, and Shri can actually be a disqualification for bhakti. None of these activities, the good and bad karmas of this world, Janma Koti Shukrita Na Labhyate, none of them are qualified to give or awaken Krishna bhakti in the heart. There's only one root qualification for the awakening of Krishna bhakti, and we said it yesterday, first person to post it gets a gulab jamun. Did I give that last time? And a bowl of fresh hot pakoras with tomato chutney. What activates bhakti? Bhakta sanjataya bhakta. Bhakti is activated or awakened by the bhakta. I'm still waiting for the answer. Bhakti is activated or awakened by the bhakta. That is how it is awakened. By those who have it. That is why in that verse, Vyaso veti na veti va, Lord Shiva is saying, I know Śrīmad Bhagavatam. Aham vedmi. Shukadeva Goswami, he also knows Śrīmad Bhagavatam. Shuko veti. Vyas may or may not know. Vyaso veti na veti va. Why? Because Mahadev is Vaishnavanam Yatha Shambhu, the best of the servants of the Lord, Vaishnavas. Shukadev Goswami, he also knows Śrīmad Bhagavatam. Why? He's the servant of Srimati Radhika, the parrot of Srimati Radhika, Shuka, Shriya Shuka. But Vyasadeva is Krishna Dvaipayan Veda Vyas. He's Krishna himself manifesting in that form. Krishna doesn't have bhakti for himself. Everyone else has bhakti for Krishna. Krishna's nature is vishai, to enjoy, and everyone else's nature is to serve that enjoyment. So Bhagavatam is all about the bhakti for Krishna. So Krishna might not understand it. He's taking shelter of Srimati Radhika and her moods to try to understand what it is like to love and serve Krishna from the perspective of a devotee in the form of Sri Sachidananda Gaurahari. Did anyone write the word? Greed, lolyam, gulab jamuns, and tomato chutney with pakoras. Great, okay. We've got this. Srila Gurudev would be so pleased that you're so clear on these points. The one qualifier to awaken Krishna Bhakti Ras, the intense, greedy desire to have it. Tatra lolyam api mulyam ekalam. Tatra lolyam means that greed. Api mulyam ekalam. It is the only root qualification for the awakening of Krishna Bhakti Ras. So, Srila Bhaktivedānta Saraswati Prabhupada is saying we are not the doers of good or evil or bad deeds. Good or bad. It's all Shubha karma, means good karma, bad karma. To the extent that one enjoys, to that extent they'll have to suffer. It's all just cyclical. It's all part of samsara. That's why Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Sarva dharman parityajya. All kinds of your material dharmas, mam ekam sharanam vraja. Surrender exclusively unto me. Any negative result that will come from that, ahang tvang sarva papebhyo moksha. I will free you from any of the negative results that come from not fulfilling your duties. What kind of duties? We have duties, responsibilities, obligations to our parents. So many people don't follow through with those these days. We have obligations to our country, to our teachers. We have obligations to the demigods. We owe them a lot. So many obligations we have. And for anything that we take from the environment, we have to repay it, including Reiki. I'm taking energy from some source and using it. Well, there's always payback for everything that we do in this material world. But if one surrenders to Krishna, if one takes to the process of bhakti, then Krishna bhakti koile sarva karma krita hoy. All other obligations are automatically taken care of. As Srila Govinda Mahārāja would say, nothing to do, Baba, nothing to do. It's already done. Then all of those things, if one takes exclusively to the path of Krishna bhakti, then they don't have to worry about all of those other things. So he says, nor are we scholars or illiterate. Vaishnavas don't put emphasis on becoming scholars. Our Gurudev would say it again and again and again. What university did Hanuman go to? What university did Haridas Thakur go to? Gorki Shodas Babaji Maharaj, what university did he go to? Bhakti is not dependent on any of these things. It's only dependent upon the sincerity in the heart. Krishna says that he is remembrance, knowledge, and forgetfulness. One can learn everything and still not gain anything in terms of bhakti. Nayam atma pravachanena labhya. Even if you become expert in Sanskrit and this and that, you can write commentaries on Shastra, but if you have no devotion, then Shrama eva hi kevalam. Everything can be considered like hard, useless labor. I put so much energy into so many things, but if it doesn't bring about a rati, attraction, a spontaneous attraction to hearing the glories of Krishna, if it doesn't awaken within the heart the desire to serve Krishna, if it doesn't take my heart and make me trinadapi sunich, amanina manadena, if it doesn't somehow bring about attraction and taste for serving the holy names of Krishna, then what is its purpose? It means more humble than a blade of grass, more tolerant than a tree, offering all respect to others and expecting none for oneself. If I can be like that, and always desirous to hear Harikatha and to be in the association of devotees and to love and serve Krishna, then what is the use of all of my lofty education? That's why Srila Gaura Babaji Maharaj told Srila Bhaktivedānta Saraswati Prabhupada, throw it in the ocean. He was a scholar. Srila Gaura Babaji Maharaj was illiterate. Neither of those mattered. Only one thing mattered. Bhakti, devotion, love and affection. And Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu taught this when he was traveling throughout South India. Although it says he met the Mathura Brahmin. Now, in the Katha, or in the painting, we see that he's reading Bhagavad Gita upside down and doesn't understand it. I don't know if, and the pictures are upside down or something like that. But what the Katha really says is, he was weeping. Mahaprabhu asked him why he was weeping. He said, because I don't know how to read. And it wasn't because, He had the book, but he couldn't read. And he said, I'm weeping because, although I'm illiterate, he said, I'm just wondering, how is it possible that Krishna has taken such a subservient position that he became the charioteer of his own devotee, Arjuna? This is why I'm weeping. Mahaprabhu said, you have understood everything. So even though he was illiterate, he couldn't read this way or that way, still, the essence of all of that entered his heart. And that's the important thing. Simplicity is synonymous with Vaishnavism. Saralata e Vaishnavata. Saralata means simplicity. E Vaishnavata. Simplicity is Vaishnavism. Simple-heartedness. We see with our Guru Varga how their hearts are so simple and soft. But with so many others, we find that there's so much manipulation, conniving, duplicity, lack of straightforwardness. Almost in every dealing, in every situation. The world is full of it. That's the nature of this world. What are the 4 defects? Does anyone know the 4 defects of the embodied souls? It's not actually a defect of the soul. It's the defect of the material body, mind, intelligence, and ego. I'll tell you in Sanskrit and see if you can write it in. See if you can write it in English. Brahm, Pramada, Karanapatava, Vipralipsa. Oh, she just said conniving duplicity. Straightforwardness ki jai. I'm also praying for the day when I can become fully straightforward. Yes, illusion, the tendency to come under illusion. Pramada. It actually means, pramada means promoting madness, but it means the tendency to make mistakes. Karanapatava means imperfect senses. And vipralipsa means the tendency to cheat others. Now, when you have millions of people who all have these same 4 defects coming together, you get mess. It's the nature of this material world. You've got this one cheating, this one has a tendency to be cheated because of their imperfect senses, and it creates a situation where everyone is making mistakes everywhere. In other words, it is a, how did Prabhupada call it? A hell of a pandemonium, this material world. Illusion, Brahm, Pramada, making mistakes, Karanapatava, imperfect senses, and Vipralipsa, the tendency to cheat others. This is unfortunately the conditioned nature of every jiva. That's why we take shelter of those who are beyond that. In Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Krishna Das Kaviraj Goswami states that there is no Brahm, Pramada, Karanapatava, or Vipralipsa in the words or the teachings of the Tattvadarshis, the all-perfect, all-knowing, transcendental personalities. That's why we must take shelter of those persons, because until now we have only associated with and taken shelter of everything that would disappoint us. As Srila Gaura Govinda Mahārāja would say again and again, disappointed, disappointed. Only disappointment again and again and again and again. And if we somehow attain the good fortune of coming into the association of such a personality who is beyond the tendency to come under illusion, who is beyond the tendency to make mistakes, who is beyond the tendency to have imperfect senses, and who is beyond the tendency to cheat others, then we can consider ourselves among some of the most fortunate people in creation. If we have met with Sri Guru. There's that book, I believe it's Srila Gaura Govinda Mahārāja, When Good Fortune Arises. Mahaprabhu told Rupa Goswami, "E Rupe, Brahmanda Brahmite Kon Bhagyavana Jeev, Guru Krishna Prasade Pai Bhakti Lata Bij." The jiva who's wandering from one Brahmanda to the next, means one universe to the next, Since time without beginning, anadi. Since forever, nityapadha, eternally bound in this material world. By the mercy of Krishna, that jiva is considered fortunate. Kon bhagyavana jiva. That jiva who is extremely fortunate. Guru Krishna prasade pai. Sometimes it's translated as by the mercy of Guru and Krishna. It is Krishna who is manifesting in the form of Guru. That is known as Guru Krishna. By the mercy of Guru Krishna, that is Guru, the form of the condensed form of the mercy of Krishna, Guru Krishna prasade pai. By his mercy, bhakti lata bij, the tendency or the inclination, the desire to serve, love. Service is a manifestation of love. The desire to want to give my heart to love Krishna, which manifests as service, this is awakened in the heart by their association. Very fortunate person. So we're not scholars, we're not illiterate, we're only seeking one thing, and that is love for Krishna. Krishna Prem. And that can be awakened in the association of, under the guidance of Krishna's pure devotees. And carrying the shoes of Hari's pure devotees as our duty, that means what we have received from them, their teachings, their moods, their understandings, we will plant that in our heart and we will share that with others. We are initiates into the mantra, Kirtaniya Sada Hari, always chant the holy names of the Lord. Always glorify Krishna's names, forms, qualities, pastimes, his associates, his dham, his pure devotees. This is Kirtaniya Sada Hari. So today we have finished. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada ki jai. Srila Gurudeva ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Rupanaga Guru Varga ki jai. Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Gaura Premanande Hari Hari Bol. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Oh Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Prabhupada ki jai. Gurupad Gauriya Guruvarga ki jai. Pratipavana Śrī Nityananda Prabhu ki jai. Prem Purushottam Sachinandana Gaura Hari ki jai. Radha Bihari ji ki jai. Radha Ramana ji ki jai. Giridhar Maharaj ki jai. Harinama Sankirtana ki jai. Hare Krishna Mahamantra ki jai. Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Nitai Gaura Premanande. Hari Hari Govinda Damodara Govinda Damodara Bolo Radhe 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 Jai 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 Shri Radhe 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 Jai 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 Shri Radhe 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 Jai 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 Shri Radhe Shri Dāmodara Jai Jai Shri Radhe Jai Jai Shri Radhe Jai Jai Shri Radhe Shyam Gaura Premanande.
Hari Hari Bol.
Thank you all very much for being with us today and giving us the opportunity to remember the beautiful teachings of our Gurudev and our Guru Varga. We look forward, I would also like to express our indebtedness to each and every one of you for daily giving us the opportunity to do our Guru Seva, which is our life and soul. We look forward to being with all of you tomorrow. Dandavat Pranam.
Dandavat
Hare
Pranam.
Krishna. Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe.
Radha Vino Bihari Ju ki
Jai.
jai. Shri Satyananda Gaura Hari ki
Ki jai.
jai. Ci vediamo domani.
Ci vediamo domani. Radhe
Radhe
Radhe.
Radhe Radhe.